I gotta put you down. How's your leg, huh? How's your leg? You ready to race? Huh?
The Denver Broncos have not been a scary team ever since Peyton Manning left, which was about 10 years ago. They've spent about like the past 10 years in complete irrelevance. But in that time, they have built up a team that can truly compete for a Super Bowl this year. And I mean that. I think the number one thing we need to look at with the Broncos is their defense. This defense was the best in the league last season. I think it's the best in the league this season as well. You know, this is a defense that, you know, their front seven led the league in sacks last season with players like Nick Bonito and Jonathan Cooper. Both of them had double-digit sacks, double-digit tackles for loss. And then they went to the 49ers and signed linebacker Dre Greenlaw to their team as well. So that's going to be even better. And then you look at their secondary where they have Defensive Player of the Year Pat Surtain, and then they drafted Jahdae Barron, who won the Jim Thorpe Award, which is like the MVP for defensive backs in college. And then they have a great safety tandem in Talanoa Hufanga. They also signed him from the 49ers. And you have Brandon Jones, who is a very, very good safety that not a lot of people really know about, probably because his name is Brandon Jones. I think the number one thing that's really going to hold them back is their lack of weapons. So their wide receiver one is Courtland Sutton. Courtland Sutton just had his second 1,000-yard season in his 7-year career. I think that he is a solid wide receiver 2 or 3. I don't really see any other receiver on this list that really impresses me all that much. They did sign Evan Engram from the Jaguars, and I think that Evan Engram can be very good, but I also think that he's had a pretty inconsistent career. And then there's Bo Nix. I think Bo Nix had a very good rookie season last year. You know, 29 touchdowns to 12 interceptions, just shy of 4,000 yards passing. If he can improve on that and really ascend this next coming year to something like a Baker Mayfield level of a player, I think the Broncos can seriously make a Super Bowl appearance, and I mean that. This team in a lot of ways reminds me of that 2015 Broncos team where their offense was really bad, but their defense was so amazingly good that it dragged them all the way to a Super Bowl win. Now this offense is gonna struggle for, you know, not the same reasons, but anytime you have a top defense in the league, you have a shot at winning a Super Bowl, you know, unless you're the New York Jets.
Life is pain. I wake up every morning, I'm in pain. I go to work in pain. You know how many times I wanted to just give up? How many times I've thought about ending it?
I'm not 100% sure on it just yet though, so I am going to comfortably put them in deep playoff run.
Ricky Vaughn, Willie Hayes. I never heard of most of them. Mitchell Friedman? Who are these fucking guys?
The Raiders are once again doing the same thing that they do every other year, and that is go out and sign the leftovers of the NFL. Like what's the plan here, guys? Are you gonna take Geno Smith and go? Is Geno Smith gonna go on a big playoff run? Is Pete Carroll gonna lead you guys on a big playoff run? Like, are you guys gonna take on the West with Max Crosby and what are we doing here? This is the problem with the Raiders. It is a complete and total lack of identity. They don't know who they are. They had John Gruden until, you know, the emails came out.
I'm saying the N-word. And
then they had Bisaccia. Bisaccia led them to the playoffs, but then they brought in Adolph, and then, you know, that went on for a little bit. They got rid of Derek Carr, completely slapped him in the face and sent him to the Saints so that they could bring in Jimmy Garoppolo. Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be our guy. And that was, I remember that being one of the biggest failures I've seen since, well,
life is pain.
And then Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't work out, so let's start our 4th round rookie quarterback, Aiden O'Connell. And Aiden O'Connell played like a 4th round rookie quarterback, and, you know, he's gotten better. They let him start for a little bit, and then they bring in Gardner Minshew. And Gardner Minshew completely stunk, and then Aiden O'Connell started playing again, and now we're here with Geno. You know, you had kind of a culture turnaround with Antonio Pierce, gave him a year, and then immediately cut him after a bad season. So what's the plan here? There really isn't anything about the Raiders right now that impresses me So it's like, what do you want me to say about the Raiders right now? Because they're not bad. I will give them that. They are a passable team that will not compete, but probably will get at least 7 wins. I think Geno Smith is probably going to be top 10 in passing yards like he usually is. I think Brock Bowers is going to be a stud again. I think Ashton Jonty is going to be a massive candidate for Offensive Rookie of the Year. And I don't know. It's just, they might surprise us. That is all I can say about the Raiders, is that they might surprise us. Justin Herbert when he's in a playoff game.
Guys, I actually can't do it. I legitimately can't do this. I legitimately can't do this. I can't do it. I honestly, I can't. I can't. I'm actually panicking.
It's hard to rank the Chargers this year, or just ever, because they are losers. If your backs are against the wall and you need to win a game, chances are the Chargers are going to lose that game. This is what they've done for a very long time. They are notorious for just blowing games, and that's just kind of the reality. That's how it was with Phillip Rivers for those 13 years, where they had one of the best statistical quarterbacks of all time, and they accomplished nothing with him. The farthest they got was round 3, where they lost. And we're seeing that again with Justin Herbert. He has had 2 playoff appearances, and in both of those playoff appearances, he played very poorly. His first time blew a 27-point lead to Trevor Lawrence, and then of course in the Texans game, throwing more picks in one playoff game than you did the entire 2024 season is unforgivable. But enough about that. Let's just go ahead and talk about the Chargers themselves. So I'm going to do positives first. So the Chargers, I think of 3 things. I think of their O-line, I think of their quarterback, and I think of now their running game. Their O-line is star-studded. Rashawn Slater, one of the best tackles in the league, and so is Joe Alt. He had a great rookie season, and they just signed Mekhi Becton from the Eagles O-line, so I think it's going to be even better, and I think it's going to be one of the best units in the league. Justin Herbert is a talented quarterback, but he's a stat patter. He's not a winner. He has great stats, does not win games. Compare that to somebody like Mahomes, all right? Mahomes, stats aren't always very pretty, but no one is better at winning games in this league than Patrick Mahomes. And now I'm excited about their running game. Now, they parted ways with their running back duo Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins, but they signed Najee Harris from the Pittsburgh Steelers, a very solid and consistent running back who has never missed a game in his career. And they drafted Omarion Hampton, who is kind of overshadowed by Ashton Jonty this year in the draft, but he is still a first round of the draft running back talent, which is very rare these days, and he is a very excellent player. So I think that their run game is going to be something to watch out for. Now, negatives. I think of 2 things. The receiver room is not very good. Ladd McConkey is a great receiver. In fact, he might even be the best receiver in the AFC West, because the AFC West has no receivers in it. They re-signed Mike Williams, which, like, okay, he's kind of washed. He hasn't had a productive season in 4 years, so I don't know, I guess we'll see what happens. Well, here's what happened with that. Now he's retiring. This came out of nowhere just recently. Mike Williams is now calling it a career after 8 seasons. And yeah, wow, the receiver room is kind of cooked. And they also have Quentin Johnston. Quentin Johnston he's not nearly as bad as the meme he was his rookie season. He has gotten better, but I don't think he's a huge difference maker. And then another thing to watch out for is their pass rush. They lost Joey Bosa in the offseason, which is like, you know, big deal. He was always getting hurt and getting paid a ton of money. He's actually on the Bills right now. He's still hurt, actually, even though he got traded to the Bills. He's hurt as of right now. You know, apart from Khalil Mack, and even he's like not super productive in getting sacks. No one else on this defense is productive in getting sacks, and I think that's going to really hold them back, especially against better teams. Overall, I think this is a team that, you know, has a lot of ups and downs, but, you know, they are the Chargers. I think that they are good enough to win like 10 games, and I think that they can make the playoffs winning 10 games. So I'm going to put them in wild cards because I think they're going to make it in but not go far.
Nothing stops this train. Nothing.
Alrighty, let's just go ahead and get this out of the way. There we go. Alright, moving on.
Although for one of you, the darkest pit of hell has opened.
All right, I'm kidding. So yeah, as long as Mahomes is the quarterback of the Kansas City Chiefs, they are Super Bowl contenders. I don't mean to, be a Mahomes glazer. I know that that is a very frowned upon position to be, but like, what do you want from me? This guy, he is on a generational run. Like, he's already potentially a top 10 quarterback of all time. I think he is, actually, because the amount of success that he has had, he's already up there with like Brady and Manning, a guy that has been to 5 of the last 6 Super Bowls. It's annoying as hell. It is, like, to watch as a fan, because I want to see, like, my favorite Super Bowl, besides Bucks Chiefs, was Bengals Rams, because it's like, whoa, these are 2 teams that are like, who saw this coming? But now it's the same teams. It's Chiefs, Niners, Chiefs, Eagles. But, enough about that. Let's talk about the actual Chiefs and, how they did last season. They did have a almost undefeated regular season, but they got very lucky several times. And I don't know, I just feel like no one was ever truly sold on the Chiefs this year, but they just kept winning, and they kept winning all the way up to the Super Bowl, and then they got, absolutely crushed by the revenge of the Eagles. They just... Nothing really about their team is like they're not like the most star-studded super team. It's just they play better no matter what. Like, they just play better when it comes down to it, and that's the best quality you could possibly have in a football team. One thing I think they definitely need to work on, though, is they really have a lack of weapons. Like, it's true what I said when the AFC West had no receivers. Like, Xavier Worthy is definitely your wide receiver 1. Outside of him, you've got Hollywood Brown. Rashee Rice is going to be gone for a while, probably. He's getting a multi-game suspension, I'm sure. He just got sentenced to a month in jail and 5 years probation for that previous incident with I forget what it was. It was like a big car crash that he ran from. He was driving recklessly. And then Travis Kelce, definitely like the worst version of Travis Kelce that we've seen so far. I think it's just going to he's probably going to retire pretty soon. And then I think their running game needs a lot of work. Kareem Hunt was their best runner, and he only got like a little over 700 yards. I think Pacheco, he did miss like half the season last year with an injury. If he comes back healthy, I think they should be fine, but they were not a very good running team last season. I mean, this is just a team that they are just going to keep making Super Bowls. That's what they're born and bred for. There are certain teams that they get to the playoffs and then they forget how to play. But I mean, these guys, they're just used to it. They've been there all the time. I think they're going to make it again this year. I have no reason to believe not. I think there are better teams in the AFC, but they don't win playoff games like these guys do. Super Bowl contenders. Not a doubt in my mind.